Hello students, today in this lecture we will discuss about further different types of column and knee type milling machine. In previous lecture we have discussed about hand milling machine and horizontal column and knee type milling machine. Now in this lecture we will continue our topic with vertical column and knee type milling machines. So first start with vertical milling machine, which is one type of column and knee type milling machine. Now let us have a look at figure of the vertical milling machine. As one can see, we have discussed different parts available in horizontal milling machine and different parts available in all type of column and knee type milling machine. So some of the basic parts available in all column and knee type milling machine that are, we will mark over here. First one is base, second one is column, third one is overarm, this is overarm, and over here it is integral part with the column. Next part it is knee, then saddle, next part table, and elevating screw. So these are the basic parts which we have discussed in our previous lecture also, which are commonly available in column and knee type milling machine. Now starting in detail, first of all, as one can see, spindle provided here, it has position vertical, and hence this machine is called as the vertical milling machine. And as we have discussed in our first lecture, as the shaft is provided in vertical condition, that's why it is called as the spindle, and it is used to hold the cutter, which is shown over here. Similarly, further I am repeating this, in horizontal milling machine cutter is provided on horizontal shaft, that is why it is called as arbor, and here cutter is provided on vertical shaft, and that's why this shaft is called as spindle. So keep these two words in mind, arbor and spindle. And in most of the cases there are mainly two types of vertical milling machines are available. First one is fixed bed type and another one is column and knee type. And right now we are discussing about column and knee type milling machine. Now as one can see from this figure, this top portion consists of the housing of the head, means at this part for power transmission motor is available, spindle is available, cutter is available. So mostly head portion is consist of all the power transmission elements. And now as we have shown in this figure, first word we have used, that is the fixed head, and another word that is we have used, it is the swiveling head. So let us differentiate between these two words. First one is fixed head and second one is swiveling head. In normal cases, vertical milling machine, it may be consist of the fixed head or it may be consist of the swiveling head. So right now, cancelling this part, and if we look at the figure available over here, we can say that if the spindle always remains vertical and it only can be adjusted up and down, and it remains at a fixed position at this vertical axis, at that time this type of head is called as the fixed head, and at this time there is no gradual markings are available. So this is the first type, that is fixed head type vertical milling machine. Now if we see this swiveling head is available, that means if the arrangement provided over here on this axis, this head can be swiveled around this axis, means this head can be moved in this direction, in both this direction, at that time what happens, this vertical spindle can be rotated at that particular axis. So if this vertical spindle can be swiveled to any required angle for machining inclined surfaces, and this type of arrangement is provided, then that vertical milling machine is called as swiveling head type vertical milling machine. So this is the difference between fixed head type and swiveling head type milling machine. Now remaining all other parts are similar to that of the horizontal milling machine. So there is no change in it. And the movement that can be obtained, these are also similar, as one can see. Vertical movement can be obtained, that is with the help of the column. On the column, this entire section, this knee can be moved up and down, and due to that this workpiece moves up and down. Another movement, that is horizontal movement, that can also be obtained with the help of the saddle and table, and similarly with the help of this cross direction movement or perpendicular to the plane, this movement can also be obtained. So similar to that horizontal milling machine, three movements, that are vertical, horizontal and cross movement, can also be obtained, but over here the arrangement in vertical and horizontal milling machine, that is different, and that is only and only the placement of spindle. It may be in horizontal axis or it may be at vertical axis. So this is the basic difference between horizontal and vertical milling machine, and also we have discussed the different parts available in vertical milling machine. Now moving to next machine, that is the universal milling machine. And in universal milling machine, it is in most of the cases similar to the horizontal milling machine, but there is only one change, that is table can be given one more additional movement, and that movement is nothing but the swiveling movement in horizontal plane, and for this purpose circular guideways are provided on the saddle. So if we see from this figure, just look at this section only, because this section is common in horizontal and vertical milling machine. As we can see, there is only three movements are possible in horizontal and vertical milling machine: vertical, horizontal and cross. But in addition to this, if this table can be swiveled about this horizontal plane, then this extra attachment is provided, and due to this attachment the next machine is called as the universal milling machine. And this attachment can also help if we have added extra some attachments, then this horizontal universal milling machine can also be converted into the vertical milling machine. So there is only one difference between horizontal and universal milling machine, that is, in addition to the movement available in horizontal milling machine, one extra movement, that is the swiveling movement of table in horizontal plane, that can be obtained in this universal milling machine. So this is about the universal milling machine, because other all parts and construction available is similar to the horizontal milling machine. Next part or next machine, that is the omniversal milling machine, and it is also a modified form of this plain milling machine. And the major difference of this omniversal milling machine compared to other machine, that is, as we have discussed in horizontal milling machine, if we remember, it has only one spindle. Vertical milling machine, it has also one vertical spindle. Next, universal milling machine, as this universal milling machine is nothing but one type of horizontal milling machine, that means it has only one horizontal spindle. But in the case of omniversal milling machine, it has two spindles available, and out of which one is horizontal spindle and other is carried by this universal swiveling head, which is nothing but the arrangement provided in the case of the universal milling machine. That means the main advantage of this omniversal milling machine is more than one tool can be attached to this omniversal milling machine because it is provided with the two spindles. And another part, that is, its knee can be swiveled about a horizontal axis to tilt the table, and it can be moved horizontally. So another advantage, that is, its knee can also be swiveled. In our previous machines, we do not have discussed about the swiveling motion of knee because this knee can only and only be moved in up and down direction in the column. But in omniversal milling machine, in addition to up and down movement, one extra movement, that is the swiveling movement about the horizontal axis, that also can be obtained. So this is the difference of omniversal milling machine compared to all other milling machines. So if we summarize of our two previous lectures, we have discussed about hand milling machine, plane or horizontal milling machine, vertical milling machine, universal milling machine, and omniversal milling machine. And these all machines are nothing but the column and knee type milling machine because these are the types of column and knee type milling machine. Because the major important part in all this machinery, that is the column and knee, and with the help of this column and knee, all extra movements that can be given to the workpiece. So I hope it is clear to you the difference between horizontal, vertical, universal and omniversal milling machine. So looking forward to see you all in our next lecture in our new extra topics. Up to then, thank you.